Have you ever sat back and wondered, how do I get my students to go beyond just memorizing stuff for the test? To really think, to analyze, to create? Well, today, we're going to break down a fantastic framework of classroom strategies designed to do exactly that. So, before we dive into all the how-tos, let's get really clear on the why. This right here, this is our North Star. The whole point of all these strategies is to build a classroom that truly fosters critical and creative thinking. It's all about giving students the tools to become amazing, insightful problem solvers. To get there, we all need to be on the same page. So let's start with the big one. What exactly is HOTS? And here it is. Higher order thinking skills, or HOTS for short, is all about making that leap from simply knowing something to actually using it. Think about it. It's the difference between just recalling a date from history and being able to analyze why that event mattered, evaluate different viewpoints on it, and then build your own compelling argument. That's where the real deep learning happens. Okay, so this kind of thinking doesn't just pop up out of nowhere, right? It takes a very intentional shift in how we set up our classrooms. So what's the foundation we need to lay to get these skills to grow? Let's dig into that core philosophy, the fundamental belief that really makes all of this work. The power of this is in its simplicity. The entire framework, everything we're talking about, it all rests on these two huge pillars: active learning and thinking routines. It means we're shifting students from being just passive listeners to being active, hands-on participants in their own learning. We're literally making the process of thinking visible, something you can practice and get better at. So we've got our goal and we've got our foundation. Now it's time to open up the toolkit and look at the key concepts that bring this whole philosophy to life. And here are the big four. First up, you've got inquiry-based learning. This is all about sparking that natural curiosity, letting students ask the questions, and investigate things they actually care about. Then there's problem-based and project-based learning. This is huge because it takes abstract ideas and grounds them in real-world challenges. It gives their work a real sense of purpose. Then you have visible thinking routines. These are simple but incredibly powerful ways to make thinking explicit, like the See, Think, Wonder routine. What do you see? What do you think about that? And what does it make you wonder? It's a total game changer for classroom discussions. And finally, collaborative learning structures. This just makes sure students are building these skills together, learning from and with each other. Okay, so understanding these concepts is one thing, but let's be honest, the real question is always how we bridge that gap from theory to the actual classroom. How do we take these amazing ideas and make them work tomorrow with our students? And that brings us to the application. This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's see how these concepts actually look as real activities in a classroom. This table lays it out perfectly. It's a direct line from the idea to the action. You can blend inquiry-based learning and collaboration by doing micro-teaching sessions. So imagine a history class. Instead of you lecturing about a revolution, student groups get to investigate different parts: the economic causes, the key players, the social impact, and then they teach their piece to the rest of the class. It forces them to synthesize, to simplify, to present, all of those higher order skills. And on the other side, you can use problem-based learning by having students actually design their own HOTS activity. Think about that. They're not just doing an assignment. They're thinking like a teacher, figuring out what makes an activity really work. So you see, the end goal here isn't just knowing what HOTS are. It's about giving teachers a whole portfolio of practical, proven strategies they can use to build that critical and creative thinking we talked about right at the beginning. All right, so we've defined the goal, we've laid the foundation, we've even unpacked the toolkit. The path is pretty clear. So we'll leave you with this to think about. In your own world, in your classroom or learning environment, what's the first, small, doable step you can take to start building a culture of higher order thinking?